Hi, my name is Catherine Borquez, and I was an after-school coordinator at a school in Oakland Unified many years ago, working alongside with BACR, and now I am a principal at an elementary school in Pittsburgh. I had talked about the after-school program and what I felt needed to happen and changes. So I guess it's what happens when you are vocal enough about something that you feel needs reorganizing. I was asked by my principal at the time. She decided, well, I think you're going to run the after-school program for us then. She placed me as a teacher on special assignment. I ended up staying in that role for about 3 years. I loved it. It was different than being a teacher, and it was a great way to interact with the students and more students in a completely different context. Still being able to provide that academic support that they needed in the beginning part of their day of being in the program, but then also giving them opportunities for enrichment that they normally wouldn't be able to do because it would be too costly for families, for parents, and also just not having the time or the means to take them somewhere if they wanted to do karate, boxing, to tap into the community and bringing in those experiences. I loved it. It was very fulfilling. And it gave me the opportunity of looking at like what would be my leadership style, but also helping to develop those leadership skills. I was there for about 3 years, and then I ended up getting a vice principal position down in Southern California. I stayed down there for about 6 years as a vice principal, and then came back to the Bay Area and got a principal job in Pittsburgh Unified, and I've been there 11 years, which is crazy to think about. I've been in administration as a VP and principal for 16 years, almost more than I was a teacher now thinking back on it. You need to have routines, procedures, processes in place right away, or things are just not going to run smoothly. One of the things I learned immediately was the whole budget part of it, and all of a sudden making sure that your staff get paid on time. And that first month of me doing that job, something had happened, and it was completely on my fault of not being able to get something in and the staff didn't get paid. So I remember calling Marissa crying. What do I do? But it was always, don't worry, we'll work it out. There's always a solution to something, or you'll be able to figure it out. Some of the other leadership components of making sure your staff is on time and making sure that they are doing what they need to be doing, and making sure that they are also serving as positive role models for the students. So, because we are there for them. I felt it was a great segue into school administration and being a vice principal and a principal. I wouldn't have done it any other way. Having that in my pocket, so to speak, it definitely was something that I could pull from and talk about in interviews. I had probably about 20 tutors. They help provide support, academic support, to a group of students at different grade levels. On top of that, about 8 to 9 different agencies that provided enrichment. As a teacher, you're in the room and you're in charge of 20 little souls, but in that position, it was such a bigger role, and I had 200 students because each school needed to have at least 100. Making sure that we were always hitting our ACES numbers and our 21st century grant numbers. I remember all that. I still remember that. And even just looking back on it too, just the impact that you have, not only on the students, but then on the people that work for you. It was last year, I was at a bilingual educators conference for teachers in Long Beach. One of the high school tutors that had worked for me back in 2008, 2007, recognized me, came up to me, and I looked at her and I'm like, "Are you a teacher?" And she goes, "Yeah, I have always wanted to become a teacher after working at the after school program and with BACR." And she goes, "You helped me want to become a teacher, and I just want to thank you. Of course, now I'm totally crying. In that moment, I was like, oh my God. And it just, you think about, like, you don't know at that time the impact you have on people and on people's lives and what they do later on. That was incredible. I remember one of the things that I loved about the after-school program was we would do family nights and showcases. With the different enrichment activities that we had of boxing and karate and dance and drumming and capoeira, and I mean, it was incredible what we provided. So we would hold these family nights, and the students would perform. My staff would barbecue for everyone, and it became this amazing community event in the evening. I remember, we were cleaning up. It's like 6:30, 7 p.m. And one of the moms, she wanted to turn on music. She goes, oh my God, let's just have a dance party. And I'm like, oh my God, we can't to leave. But she just wanted it. She was like, this is the best thing I've ever had at the school, because it was their first time really having an opportunity to be at the school after school in a way that was very relaxed and fun, and having that opportunity to be in community and share with each other, because there's this strong push and need and want for schools to become community schools. And looking back at what really is a community school, we were really kind of starting that back then with the after-school program. Some of the parents too wanting to participate, or now the school that I'm at, we are a full-service community school. Honestly, the number one thing is communication. If you feel that you didn't feel heard, or something happened, you didn't feel that something went the right way, always communicate to your coordinator, because if you assume that they know what was happening, or, well, I didn't want to tell them because I don't want to cause rift, it actually creates more drama than is needed. And in my role, when I was in that, that was something right away that I was always calling people at the ACR, like, okay, this is what happened, what do I do? And it's just having that open communication. You make sure that everyone is hearing what's happening, but then that there's always a solution. There's always something that can be helped. Communicating, number one. If you don't communicate, then nothing will get solved. Because I was vocal about wanting to restructure after-school programming, my former principal had said, I think you should look into applying for the program and being in this role. And it's definitely not something I ever aspired to do. It just fell in my lap. It just kind of came to me, and I'd thought about it. I'm like, well, I'll apply, it won't hurt. And then I got into the program, and it was a really intense program, but it was incredible. It gave me the opportunity to be where I'm at now. You can impact so many more people and in different ways when you step out of just being in the little classroom to a leadership role. Even if I hadn't been at that time in an administrative program, having the opportunity to run an after-school program, be a coordinator, having that support from BACR, it still gave me the chance to learn leadership skills and what it's like to have people work for you and being in charge of people and not just kids. So for me, it was just a great stepping stone into more leadership roles within a school system.